All right, we are live. Welcome everyone. Welcome to FPL Game Week 17. Sorry, Game Week 16, episode 17. I'm joined by Rushant today. How
Very
are you
good. How
good?
you, Ryan?
That's good. I'm good. I'm good. Well, in the busy Christmas schedule, unfortunately, Roy is not feeling well today, so he won't be able to attend us. But we will make sure that he sticks to his forfeit somehow on the
Yeah.
next podcast. Uh, so we will wait for that. All right, so we have a lot to discuss today because there's some news that has also appeared recently about AFCON and all of that. So we will be discussing about that. Especially, we'll discuss about United, and because they are the talk of the town with the fixtures changing and everything. So we'll have that discussion as well. So let's look into the agenda. So season ticker up front, then followed by talk about AFCON. We'll talk about United as well, their game under Ralph Ragnick against Crystal Palace, and see if there are any differences between how they were under Solskjaer and Carrick and under the new manager. We'll talk about the top 20 players in terms of expected goal involvement. Discussion about big at the back, because the last few weeks have seen some single digit returns for most of our defenders, while midfield seems to be performing. And then we'll talk about the premium striker slot. Look ahead to Game Week 16, and then the manager's team's price changes, and the panel team, which had a disaster week of 31 points. So yeah, we'll talk about all of that. All right, so having said all of that, let's get started. Season ticker, Man United right on top, up there. That's why they're talking about town with those fixtures, and also obviously a few more to go. This is until Game Week 21 because that's the start of the new year, and potentially when AFCON also starts. So it kind of helps everything. Followed by West Ham, Crystal Palace, City, Watford also in there with the really good fixtures. We'll be talking about Dennis and Josh King. And at the bottom, we've got Wolves, Newcastle, Leeds, Brighton, Norwich. So, any players you're targeting
Well,
from any
yeah. I
of these
mean,
fixtures?
like obviously, watching United's game last weekend
Mm-hmm.
was very interesting because it was definitely their most attacking game of the season. I think we spoke about it
Mm-hmm.
as well. They seem like they were. I mean, obviously with Ralph Ragnick, they were pressing a lot more. I watched a lot of the mini
Yes.
matches as well again, and all the highlights were pretty much just purely United on the attack. Ronaldo had like a million shots. So yeah, they're looking good. It's just a matter of now. I think we're talking about it is who do you bring in and at what price point.
Yeah.
That's probably the big discussion.
Yeah, fair enough. That's the question I think a lot of people are having, because either you bring Ronaldo or you bring in someone cheaper but spread the funds elsewhere. Um, or that's the debate. And if it was someone else, who do we actually bring in? That's kind of like still a question up in there. So we'll discuss about that. Apart from United, looking at
Yeah,
anyone
I
else
mean, look,
or
those teams at the top are looking pretty good. West Ham is now their run of hard fixtures are kind of turning, and they're looking
mm-hmm.
good. Like the likes of Bowen and Bowen's been talked about a lot recently in terms of his
Yeah.
XG, and a lot of people who've had Antonio are now sort of hoping that things will turn for him. He's not had the best run of returns over the last five game weeks ish. So yeah, I think West Ham is another team who, based on fixtures, they're looking like a really, really good option. Potentially even a double
Mm-hmm.
up. And you do have a lot of cheap options available across in defense and midfield, especially midfield. Um, yeah, and
Yeah,
obviously
true.
City is always going to be there. Bernardo Silva has been revived and he's looking like a new
Mm-hmm.
player. And even though his XG isn't as great, there's a lot of talk about that too, that Foden's still probably the better option. But I think, that's again coming down to your own choices and what exactly happens with Pep Roulette. We don't know.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
are in
Yeah,
Champions League. Crystal Palace, see, that's one team I kind of skipped over because you just don't know. I think they did
yeah,
look good. And Vieira's team kind of were proving everyone wrong sort of early in the season. However, they've sort of fallen off a cliff over the last few weeks. Um,
to my
yeah,
unlucky.
with Gallagher and stuff not really returning. But look, I
Yeah.
mean, the fixtures are there, and that's a big part of FPL is fixture driven as well. They're facing an Everton team who haven't been the best, even though they've sort of upset Arsenal over the week.
Mm,
So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't write them off just yet. Um, they'll definitely be those top four teams are pretty solid. Top five teams really are very very solid options in
yep.
terms of players to target.
Yep. Cool. Looks good. Yeah, Bowen also. People are looking into bringing some cheap midfield assets because midfield seems to be performing. So he's one to keep an eye on, especially if you don't have Antonio, or if you want to double up as well. Someone you could probably bring in. Apart from Bowen, I think Sufal is decent. Ben Johnson, obviously, he played only
Yeah.
45 minutes, so had a injury. So we'll have to keep an
Yeah,
eye
so I
out for
watched the
that.
game. I was watching, and he
But
kind of just like limped off, which is kind of upsetting because I was kind of hoping that he would be another $4 million defender who's playing well
yeah,
um, at West Ham. So I mean, he'd be one player I'd be watching out in terms of seeing his injury situation. But yeah, I think with the
yeah,
likes of Cresswell also out, Sufal actually looked really good in game, and we know from last season
yeah.
as well he was a very very good option at the back. He's got really good attacking prowess in the wing back. So yeah, I think a West Ham wing back, whether it be Sufal or Johnson if he's healthy, would be very interesting.
Mm-mm. Now, just to give a perspective in terms of the fixture schedule, I added this just like a few minutes ago. This is from Lego Mane FPL. Can go follow him. So we are right here in terms of fixtures. So this just kind of shows like the recovery period that teams will have, to kind of give an idea of like, okay, what teams are going to rotate more and all of that. This does include their cup competitions as well, so you can have a better idea. So as you can see, like that, Liverpool, Chelsea, West Ham, Spurs, the time period between their midweek fixtures in cup competitions to the other games aren't too much, whereas some of the other teams here have like big green ones. Um, there's AFCON also added here, which is game week 21. Now there were rumors today that have been circulating that AFCON is potentially moved to the
Hmm.
3rd of January, which could mean that players might get impacted in game week 19, 20,
Hmm.
and 21. They might have to leave on the 27th or 26th. That could mean that we are without players earlier than we
Yeah,
expected. So the likes of Salah, Dennis, players we have in our teams, um, what do you think the
yeah.
approach
I mean
should
that
be? Or what's
yeah, I
their
think that
plan?
that could be very it could be a big actually. It's going to be a big effect because I know a lot of people are sort of bringing in players with the hope that they will service them through this busy Christmas period. So a lot of the
Mm,
transfers that people are doing, like probably from even now, really, is the time where you sort of
yeah,
plan towards that uh, busy Christmas schedule, but also with how
yeah,
are you going to tackle that AFCON, which is going to happen, or which we thought was going to happen after game week 21. The fact that it's going to happen maybe 2 or even 3 weeks earlier could be a
yeah,
big change. So I think in terms of planning, well, obviously, I think we need to know what's going to happen. I think waiting to watch when exactly it's going to happen, and then obviously following the player
mm,
conferences is key.
yeah,
Is your Salah going to leave in game week 19 or 21? That's probably the first thing, and the second thing then is then obviously plan around that. Obviously, this like you're going to have to sort of be a bit more selective about your transfers and reduce
mm,
that level of punt and um, you pretty much will have less room to sort of try and being differential. You probably just in that phase of okay, let's try fitting in a full team, and try filling in
yeah. That's
players
true.
who would play during that period, and also have got good fixtures. So,
Yeah. The other thing is, during that specific after 21 as well, Chelsea's fixtures do get partially hard, and also they go for Club World Cup as well. So we kind of had to keep that in mind. It's not only AFCON as well. We're losing some Chelsea players as well, specifically during that time as well. So those who have a majority of managers have doubled up on Chelsea defenders as well. So you might want to try and navigate or have transfers saved up. I think ideally you want to save your transfer. You want to roll your transfer on game week 18 so that when you go into 19, you have two transfers in. So if you're making any moves, game week 16, game week 17, try and place your squad in such a way where that for game week where you don't have to make a transfer in game week 18 and in 19 you have two transfers to make and you don't have to take too many hits as well. Try and
Correct.
fix
I think
your
at
squad.
that point, we pretty much. I mean, even if you take a hit, it's more about minimizing the number of hits you're going to take. So it's you have
Yeah.
to be a bit more careful about the transfers you are going to make, and
Yeah.
I think a big part of this is also, like right now, I can use a good example of this week, right? Like I know a lot of people who don't have the two transfers will be struggling, and I feel like the only way you can get in players like Ronaldo, for example, is by taking a hit. And I'm sure a lot of people this week will take a hit to bring in Ronaldo or a United player. It's more like you're really banking on Ronaldo or whoever from United, delivering more than that transfer hit point for this game week.
Yeah.
So you can't really
Yeah.
hope for that sort of at game week 19 because it's going to be too late, and also it's going to be a big sort of it's going to be catastrophic for your team, pretty much. So.
Yeah, true. Now, in terms of like players leaving AFCON, so this is from the Athletic. Kind of shows potential players who could leave. Now, obviously, the main players are from Liverpool. In terms of Salah, Mane, how that could impact their attack as well. Diego Jota still seems probably the best option in terms of in the route to the attack, but we could potentially swap Salah for someone else. We'll have to wait and see who it's going to be for. Spurs are not losing anyone for AFCON, but there are rumors with regards to a COVID outbreak in Spurs right now, which could mean their upcoming game could get postponed. And we don't know how many. So I think Son is one of the players who's been mentioned to miss the upcoming game, but we don't know how many other players are affected as well. I guess we'll have to kind of like see in terms of the press conference to find out what more information about it. The other thing I saw was that Spurs, because of their previous missed game as well, they could have a triple game week potentially in game week 21, which makes the move to maybe a Salah to Son during that specific time a viable option. Now the question is, do we keep Son or do we get rid of Son for that short time? Because we don't know how long he's going to be out as well in terms of COVID and everything.
I think I heard the news as well. I've got Son in my team, so it's a big sort of decision for me to make as well. The thing I heard about is because they got their European Conference game in a couple of days as well.
Yes.
And we don't know the rules around that. So Premier League, if I think things like this happened, the games have been postponed. But I believe European Conference games don't have the precedence of. We haven't seen that so far. So they might actually go ahead with a very depleted Spurs team. And I think Spurs are struggling. They actually need to win.
Yes, they need to win the game.
Otherwise they're in a very, very tough spot. So I think looking at that team, that obviously we'll know when they play that game because that's going to be before the Premier League game. Who the final.
Yeah, that's on the Friday for us. Thursday.
So we'll actually know who the players are. Firstly, we'll know who are the affected players because those who are affected will definitely not play. That makes sense. I'm glad. I'm just hope that Son will be in that playing 11, but we don't know. We don't know that just yet.
We'll have to see.
Should you get rid of Son for this one game week? It's a tough question because I personally like Son, and he's been delivering for me in the last 2 game weeks, and I think in terms of Spurs, he seems to be the standout in attack.
They have Brighton. Okay, Brighton is the game they'll miss, and they have the Burnley game, which is banked as well. If it is in game week, if they do get a triple game week in game week 21, that also includes Watford for that fixture. So it's a really good set of 3 fixtures. Now the upcoming after that is Leicester and Liverpool on this. followed by West Ham, Crystal Palace, and Southampton. So it's not too bad. Liverpool probably been the only hard team in that list. So if Son is out for one game week, and we get to know that, okay, there is a triple game week coming in game 21. Obviously, we don't know this, and we probably might not know it till probably late. You might have to, I guess, you kind of have to risk it. But if there is a possibility, then I don't know. Because for me, I'm like, I'd rather keep him in if I know I'm going to get him in again, kind of situation. But at the same time, if he's going to miss maybe two games, because we have to keep in mind, right? So their game is on. They have the game on Sunday, and then the following game is on a Thursday. Is that enough recovery time for players who are affected?
The rule is 10 days, right? So if you've got tested, then per the rules, you have to stay out for 10 days. So if that could potentially, they could miss the Brighton and the Leicester game, which means when he does come back, it'll be against Liverpool. So
potentially three
games
that
that's not really favorable. So I think in terms of, then if you ask me that question, if you put it that way, obviously I feel like, yes, he is worth dropping right now, and you bring him back in game week 19, closer to that triple game week.
Which is like a Salah to
potentially
Son
that could be your way to Son, and that's probably the best thing. I mean, like that makes total sense right now. If Son is definitely out for the Brighton, I feel like the reason why my thing of keeping Son is Brighton is very, very depleted this weekend. They don't have
yes, they are missing about 7 to 8
including
players.
their key defenders. Dunk and Veltman and Duffy as well. It's gonna be a juice fest if we actually had their full team.
I had him as a captain option for this week.
I think that's where the plan's kind of going to. But look, this could be a blessing in disguise because, maybe the fact that if he's actually out and, Leicester and Liverpool games wouldn't be as easy for him to score. You could drop him temporarily drop him.
You could, temporarily reduce that could help people fund their weight of Ronaldo as well.
Yes.
Potentially.
Correct.
Yeah. So I guess that's for the manager to decide.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So I think what I would do is if you had your transfers and you're looking to get rid of some players, if you hear that Son is actually out for this game week, especially the next game week as well, I think there's no harm dropping him because you're not going to expect much against Liverpool from Son.
Yeah, no. Meanwhile, for me, I had Kane. He's a fraud, so I've kicked him out. Goodbye. Automatically. In comes Ronaldo. But yeah, if it's Son, because Son has been really good, I can understand that. But if you have Kane, then
I mean, if you put this like it's come back to AFCON, right? I'm just looking at this list right now, and who are which teams are the ones who are really getting affected, right? Let's look at the list. So Arsenal, yes, you got the loss of Aubameyang probably, but the rest have been, and Partey maybe, but.
Probably Partey, yeah.
The rest haven't been really starting, and they got the likes of Smith Rowe and Odegaard, and so I think they'll be fine, right? If from the eye test, they look like Lacazette might play up front. Saka is not injured; he's back, so you feel like they should be okay. Villa, not so much. Brentford, not so much. Brighton, Burnley, Chelsea. I mean, without the likes of Mendy, is that going to be a bit of a difference?
Yeah, because their defense has kind of weakened as well after Chilwell's gone. Alonso isn't as great as Chilwell in terms of defensive wise, and add Mendy to that list as well when Tiggy goes away. That thing kind of increases probably don't want any Chelsea defenders per se.
Looking at it right now, I feel like Mendy is a huge part of the defense. He's saved so many games for them. Even the games when Reece James and Chilwell and stuff were injured, he pretty much just carried the game one day. Remember that 1-0 game? I think Chelsea will be probably.
Chelsea might quite and also the fact that they have Club World Cup then following after that as well, so doesn't bode well. But yeah,
Crystal Palace, yes, I think their attack is going to go down because Zaha is not playing. It's huge.
Massive,
and Crystal Palace recently haven't been really producing much in the attacking front. They're struggling to score goals. Not sure what's happened really. Like they looked really good a few weeks ago.
Yeah, that's the thing. The last few games they haven't
Yeah.
looked good, both defensively and offensively. Although the team is
Yep.
still pretty decent, and I think they have the fixtures, the upcoming fixtures, is still not too bad because
Mm.
if you look at it right, they've got Everton, Southampton, Watford, which
Yeah.
isn't too bad still in the next three. So they still have time to kind of like
Yeah. Yeah.
fix it
I
up.
guess the question is, after AFCON, because they might be on the sort of after being like, if they do come back, firstly, I hope they come back, then
Yeah,
is the loss of Zaha going to be critical for them? That's a
yeah,
big
that's the
thing.
thing.
So,
That's what we don't know.
yeah, Crystal Palace is a bit iffy right now for me. I mean, that's looking purely in AFCON eyes. Is Zaha like that critical for the Palace?
The yeah, the reverse thing that could happen is because of their loss of Zaha, they could go more defensive to try and keep it
Mm.
very tight and at least take the
True.
draws as well instead of just losing the game. So I guess there's both ways. We'll have to see how Patrick Vieira
And I
sets
think
up as well.
IU also plays as well, so that's another striker down. So
Yeah,
you might see the
yeah,
likes of Edouard playing a lot more, Benteke
mm,
playing a lot more as well. Yeah,
Eze,
is he as well?
yeah, yeah. Everton, I
Nah,
don't think yeah,
nothing.
not really. Um, Leeds, no one. Bamford is back. Keep that in mind. Could help people. Leicester, NDD might be a
Yeah.
huge loss. Uh, Iheanacho. So here's the thing, right? Iheanacho is on this list, and Dennis is also there for Watford. I think one of them might go. One of them might stay back.
Mm.
So that's something to
So
kind of
is
keep
that
an eye out
because
on.
Nigeria have who is the preferred choice for Nigeria? Is it
Uh, I think Iheanacho was the initially like the one, and like the manager. I see the manager. I think has issues with Dennis, but then right now apparently Dennis is in the 40-man squad, and obviously that will be
Mm.
cut down to 28. I don't really know when that is being cut down to 28, so we'll have to keep an eye out for
Yeah,
that
I
and
mean
see.
28 is still a big number, and Dennis and Ian
Yeah,
Archer are probably one of their better strikers. So I would be surprised if either of them are left out purely based on talent.
yeah, that's right. Especially the form that
Yeah.
Dennis is on as well.
Um, yeah, and
So that's
AFCON, like
something to
they
keep an
value
eye
this a
on.
lot for them. So I feel like, yeah, I mean, look, I'm hopeful that Dennis doesn't go, but I wouldn't be surprised if both of them are selected.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then here we are onto
Um,
the main team, I guess, the biggest loss.
yeah. Yeah, no, it's a massive loss because like your replacements are, I guess Firmino comes in. That's one. Uh, but then the other one is probably Divock Origi
Yeah.
or Minamino.
It's
It's not the
not. That's
same
the problem,
level.
right? So I know that we're looking at Liverpool differentials in terms of attack, right? So you have, because of
Yeah,
the fact that there's no Salah and Mane, it opens up places for other strikers to play. But the problem is no one else is up to that level, right? So Salah and Mane are on like a different level.
a different. Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
you can't
yeah.
expect Minamino and Origi to come in and do what they're doing because they're not going to be able to. They're not the same
Yeah,
players. Like,
that's the thing.
so I actually think that Liverpool won't be.
They won't be as great. I think they will
I
drop
think
points
they might,
during that time.
obviously they probably get a few draws, right? Like you expect they get a few draws.
Yeah,
The defense is still solid. They're not going to be, they're not going to win by 3-0, 4-0, right? They might win the 1-0s.
no,
They might
no.
get the draws. It'll be interesting. It'll be actually really interesting to see how Liverpool perform without Salah and Mane.
Mm,
Because I think
yeah,
they're a
that's the thing.
huge part in the team. And Jota, yes, but I actually think that Jota is uplifted by the two of them. Uh,
Because the service that the
it's
other two give
enormous, right? And
is vital. Yeah,
they
yeah,
attract so much attention when they're so quick on the ball. Defenders need to really focus on these two. That the third usually
yeah,
is open.
yeah,
So yeah, I mean, Liverpool is one team. I feel like it'll be interesting to see how they perform. Again, I think Salah going. I think is a good thing for FPL. He should
yeah.
be banned.
More variation. Having said that, this week might be the week to kind of like take a punt on the captaincy.
Yeah.
Because they're playing Aston Villa, Steven Gerrard back
Mm.
again. Uh, but
Yeah.
we'll discuss about that later. Yeah, so I think Liverpool will be the most
Yeah.
hit team out of all. And then the two Manchester clubs, I don't think either of them will be
Not
actually
really.
affected by
Maris
it.
hasn't been on and off. I mean, he did play.
Yeah, and Bai
No,
hasn't really
no.
played per se
I
as
think
well.
that's
Yeah.
good.
Then Newcastle Nova, Norwich Nova, Southampton. don't really know.
Geneva comes off the
Don't
bench
think so.
and Salisu is
Yeah,
occasionally playing. So no, I don't think they're going to be affected that much
yeah.
either.
Then the next big one would be
Yes,
Watford,
correct.
because Ismail Sarr, Dennis, those are two big names that they'll be
Yeah,
losing in attack. Then the question arises: can the other players feed Josh King enough service? That's another question that has to be kind
Hmm.
of asked, because even though Josh King may be the better choice out of the two, because of the fact that maybe Dennis could be going
Yep.
for AFCON. The other thing is, will he get the service during that time? I don't know. That remains to be seen.
Yeah.
We'll have to see how it
Yeah,
goes.
and also Trusty Con as well.
But
He plays every game.
mm-hmm.
He
Oh yes.
plays. He's solid
So
defender as well. So that's three key starters who aren't
mm,
playing. But yeah, you're right. I think the biggest loss here is Sa. Um, it's crazy, but like, yeah. But in saying that, right? Watford beat Leicester without him,
without him,
4-2,
yeah,
right? So the goals aren't there. They've actually scored without him the last 3 games, every single game. So it's
yeah,
not like, yes, Sa is great. Um, I actually think that Josh King's value is still there. You know what I mean? That's my opinion. I think Josh King's less
yes. He
value.
has pens as
Club
well in defense.
penalties, new manager, Watford's again on the uprising. So I still think that there is a good chance that goals come.
Yeah.
Not bad.
I think Josh King is the
Yeah.
better one. Uh, I have gone sideways the other one, mainly for the
Correct.
price rises. But I think Josh King is the better move if you are not chasing that price rise, or if you have missed out on Dennis's price
Yeah.
rise as well
Yeah.
already.
Correct. I think at that time when AFCON starts as well, especially if you were
Yeah.
looking to bring someone in, because I think Watford's fixtures at that time isn't that bad either, right?
No, they're playing like I think
Norwich.
Newcastle and
Yeah.
Burnley
Yeah.
or something
So
like that. So it's not some
So I
pretty easy
think
fixtures.
at the time, if you do want a cheap striker, and if there's no other option at the time, I think it's the decision I make at the time. I wouldn't stress about it just yet. Watford's the team I'll be one
Yeah.
to watch. There's much better options in striker right now, I think.
Yeah, I mean you can bring in either one right
Yep.
now if you want to bring in. People are looking into like because there is Jimenez that people are looking to transfer out, Huang who people are looking to transfer out. So either one isn't too bad. If you bring in Dennis, keep in mind it is a risk. And then you just got to hope it doesn't go for the 40 man. It doesn't go for the 28-man squad. So we'll have to wait and see on that. West Ham, Benrahma could be a bit of a loss, but I think Jared Bowen is
Yeah,
playing pretty well.
I actually was going to say that's going to be interesting, right? Because Benrahma going out actually opens up a lot more
Yeah.
way for Jared Bowen. Because right now there's
Yeah.
a lot of doubt over Bowen, Benrahma, Fornells in that midfield area. But this, with Benrahma going, actually solidifies Bowen's position. I think that's when he
Yeah.
becomes more attractive, compounded with easy fixtures. So
Yep,
that could be another great option.
Yeah, and then finally, Wolves. Wolves are having tough fixtures already, so
Just
I'll
struggle.
probably avoid it. Yep, cool. So that's AFCON. We try to cover as much as possible. Hope that helped people. Now, Gameweek 16. This is what I do for the captaincy video. Usually, I look at trying to see who could be good captaincy options. Now, Liverpool have the best attack, one of the best attacks, top 4 best attack and defense, and they're going against Aston Villa, who have improved over the last 4 matches in terms of defense. Aston Villa are now in the top 4 over the last 4 matches for defense. So that's kind of why I went like, ooh, Salah might not necessarily get too many returns. The only thing for Salah is his competition would probably be, I think, Spurs, United, and City, who are all playing teams who are in that next bracket of teams 5 to 8 in defense. Spurs are playing Brighton, who have been good last few games for defense, but this game specifically, they are without players, but without 8 players. So that makes a whole difference. Although now we don't know whether the game is going forward. So that's another problem. City are playing Wolves, who have been horrible in attack. Basically can't score to save their life. but a decent in defense. We saw against Liverpool, they managed to keep them to a single goal. It took a moment of brilliance from Van Dijk to Salah and then getting that goal, but they were a bit solid. Now the problem with City is we know they get goals, but it's not just one person. It's spread across the entire pitch. So we don't know who you're going to specifically captain. United, only one game so far under Ragnick, looked promising. Ronaldo still probably your talisman, but going against a Norwich team under a new manager who have improved in the last few weeks. So that will be interesting. I guess Ronaldo at this point is probably Salah's captaincy candidate. Like the two of them are probably the candidates. Apart from that, I don't really see anyone
No, I think
else.
it summarized pretty well, actually, because I think you're right in the sense that, Liverpool might not necessarily be the best team. I was looking at Sun as well until this COVID news came through, which I think Brighton's getting really lucky because they actually have, I just had a look in terms of defense, Dunk is out, Duffy's out, Veltman's questionable, Webster's out.
Yep.
That's their back.
So it's like almost the defense.
So
exactly.
I don't even know who's going to play centre back for them. You probably have a mix of Burn and Roberts. Haven't played much in Premier League recently, right? So
it could be a blessing in disguise.
So I think Brighton's getting very, very lucky, and I think Trossard's out as well. Welbeck's out, so they're very, very. This game is going to be had Spurs written all over it, right? Especially after Spurs beat Norwich 3-0 last game. This had Son written all over this game. Like that's I had Captain Son from the time I heard about this.
Interestingly, Spurs have also improved their attack. Now they are in the top 4 for attack last 4 games. Obviously, Kane has been ghosting about, so forget Kane. But Son has been on
Son,
form.
and actually, did you see Lucas Moura's goal last week?
Yes, he's crazy good. How did Son get an assist for that? He just
So I think again, Conte and Ragnick, these new teams coming in have created some spark amongst the players. I really wouldn't ignore this United Norwich game. I think it could be a goal fest for United.
Yes.
And so I think if you're looking at Ronaldo, I think he's a very, very favourable captain option, especially if the fact that Son doesn't play. I think Ronaldo could be a very, very good option. It all depends on these young boys.
And Salah played today Champions League. Sorry?
No, I think it's all depends on this young boys game as well, which is coming up.
Yeah, that's what, whether he plays or not. I don't think he's going to play. I think he might get rested. But Salah played Champions League again today. And I was like, oh, why are you actually playing? You could have rested him easily in a group that's already won.
No, Salah's just a machine.
So I'm like, yeah, that's true. But we'll see. Aston Villa have looked good. Steven Gerrard back at Anfield as a manager. Like, all of that is making me like, will Salah get something? We'll see. But yeah. Talking about Ragnick and United, this is United's. So what I did is I went and got on Fantasy Football Scout members area the average touch positions for United. So this is the Crystal Palace game, followed by I've added the City game that we lost 2-0 and the Spurs game that we won 3-0. And as you can see, these were both under Ole, and both times you can see we are in our own half. But under Ragnick, a majority of the team is forward thinking. The only two back are basically 2 and 5 is centre backs, and I think 17 is Fred. Everyone else, including the 2 full backs, are way forward. Obviously, the left hand side, because they played a 4-3-2 formation, and for the first 25 to 30 minutes they pressed like crazy. That's what I saw. And then after that, it died down a bit. And then again, back after the subs were made, they managed to get back that fitness and like try and press a bit more. But it's still it's a very small sample size. But it's a very promising sample size, especially given that their opponents upcoming are all teams that are lower down the table, which is promising. Now, Dalot is 4.4 million. Pretty cheap alternative. I think he could probably nail down a position more than Telles against Shaw, because I think Shaw still kind of offers like an attacking threat, whereas Wan-Bissaka offers absolutely.
Well, I think the other thing with Bell is that Wan-Bissaka is fit, right, and he's still getting played over Wan-Bissaka, while Shaw is actually injured, and that's why you got Telles playing. And I think Shaw is again fit again. He's training for young boys games. He might he might feature in the
Yeah.
Young Boys game as a bit of practice as well, which kind of jeopardizes
Yeah.
Tellis' position. In saying that, Tellis actually looked really good in game. He has some good shots.
Yes. Teles is probably the better
I
one
think
of
so
out of the
too.
two in terms of Dalot and Teles. Teles has the better
Yes.
numbers as well. Going forward, touches in the box, everything
Yeah.
Teles is significantly
Yeah.
better.
The problem is Luke Shaw being English, and he's already been there for a
Yeah.
while. It's going to be like on the Robertson, right? It's like, would you start Robertson? Would you start Simicas over Robertson? You wouldn't, because it's Robertson, right? The
Yeah.
same thing. I think
Yeah,
Shaw's
that's the
actually
thing.
viewed really highly, and he's not a bad player. It's just, so
Yeah, that's what he offers something going forward, sure. Compared to Dalot, compared to Wan-Bissaka, who doesn't really
yeah,
offer much going forward. Now, if Teles and Dalot both had, like, they were confirmed to be the first players going forward, then I would probably go for Teles. But because Teles has a better competition in terms of shot
yes,
compared to Wan-Bissaka. If Wan-Bissaka was better attacking, then I would have been a bit more
yeah,
worried. But the fact that Dalot is so
yeah,
much more better attacking, and in Rangnick's position, he needs
correct.
attacking fullbacks in his playstyle. So that kind of favors me. And 4.4 as well. I'm like, ooh, this could be
Yeah,
actually a
I
good
think I
option
agree with you in the sense that I
going
feel like
forward.
in Ragnick's playstyle, like where wing backs are actually valued as well, similar to sort of Tuchel as well. Shaw actually would be,
Yeah,
in his eyes, the better option in left back.
yeah,
The problem with Dalot is, again, like, no, not the problem. Sorry, I think he's a good option. Don't get me wrong. At 4.4, I think he's a great option. I'm still waiting to see United's defense a little bit more. At the end of the day,
yes,
it's
that's
still
what I
United
think you
defense
need
with
to.
Varane, and
Yeah,
you still have the same players, right? So until I'm convinced by their defense, like I know the attack is now going to be much better, and we see that from this diagram here anyway.
yeah,
Once I get, because end of the day, it's still clean sheets, right? That's what really brings that defender's value out, apart from attacking
yeah,
returns. And I think in this formation, you're going to see a lot more attacking returns from those forward players. You got your Bruno and Sancho playing together, with Rashford playing as striker as well. So yes, I think if they go and they're playing really, really well, you get an occasional return from Dalot here and there. But I think you're still banking a lot more clean sheets from him. And
yeah.
with that, without Varane, are you really convinced? I don't know. I'm not that convinced in terms of them keeping.
Probably not. I'm not too convinced
Yeah,
without Varane. But then I'm also looking at
fixtures.
fixtures, and also the fact that Chelsea are not that, like, Chelsea's dropping a bit. Alonso is a very tricky character because he can fall out of favor with Tuchel pretty quickly as well. And I don't mind having a Dalot as a
Oh yeah,
fifth choice option,
100%.
or even a fourth choice, because now we're talking about the fact that we might find a switch from going at 4 at the back or 5 at the back to now 3 at the back, where we could potentially have Cancelo, James, and Trent, and then a 5 midfield. So I'm like, that's possibly like a
Yep.
good option for me. So I think those are the few things. I still need to see a bit more from Crystal Palace.
Yep.
From Manchester United. So we'll see. Probably, I don't think young boys will be able to see too much because I'm not sure who's going to start. But I think the upcoming game we might be
Yeah,
able to see a bit
Norwich
more.
game will be a very good indication. Like I know it's Norwich end of the day, but
Yeah.
I think I'm really keen on seeing more United games under Ragnick to see how they actually play.
Yeah.
That first game was great. I like that. I feel like they should have won by more goals, like Ragnick said. They deserve to have won about 2-0, 3-0. But end of the day, the win is the main thing. And yeah. And interesting there in your diagram that Rashford is the most attacking player there.
Yes, so I think the front two were
Yeah.
Ronaldo and Rashford. And I think Rashford did more of the pressing for Ronaldo
Yeah.
as well, which is why he's ahead. Ideally, I would have loved to see Ronaldo a bit
Yeah.
more forward, but I think there was a lot of pressing done by Rashford going
Yeah.
forward. So that's why I think, but we'll see. But Rashford didn't look too great though, so that's the one slight issue. The other thing is Cavani is back in training. So I'll be interested to see if he pairs Cavani and Ronaldo. How
Problem
that
is,
will
like, I
be.
feel like now Cavani is also oldish, but Ronaldo is also old. I actually feel sometimes Ronaldo looks fatigued. I don't think he is, but
Could
I
be,
don't think
yeah.
he is. He's a freaking.
I don't think he'll play back. Like, if you know how we have when he had 3 Premier
Yeah.
League games in midweek, then he could potentially, he might still play all 3, but he might
Yeah,
get less minutes than
correct.
we expect.
He didn't look
So
like
that's
he
the
was
one thing
able,
that you,
even when he got subbed off at the end, kind of just like walked off the pitch, just like very like just
yeah.
sort of collapsed. And maybe it's his age as well, but maybe it's just the fact that he's playing at such an elite level. But he's not known to be one. I mean, now before yes, he was running around a lot, but I don't see him. He does press, but not as much as he's not very. Like you see Bruno, right? You see energy on Bruno.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah, they
completely
press a
different,
lot.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Bruno's much younger as well, but you see the difference in the energy levels. And I'm not seeing that energy levels. Yes, he's a clinical finisher. Don't get me wrong. Ronaldo's still a very, very clinical
Yeah,
finisher.
it could be that he just, I guess, because Ronaldo's never been a one
Yeah.
for pressing. He could probably just know, like, I think because of the way he knows where to position himself, instead of, you don't need to really, like, he doesn't need to run about to press. He could
Yeah.
also cut passing lanes. And you could let Rashford doing the
Correct. So
running
that's what
about,
brings me a question. So if Cavani is fit, would he be really playing with Ronaldo,
the
or would he
running
be
about
playing,
person.
in Ronaldo's
Yes.
position? That's my question.
Yeah, that's something that I
Yeah.
will have to wait and see
Yeah.
how that goes. So that's something else. I've also added the 2 games under Carrick, which kind of shows United a bit more forward, but not too forward as well. Still a bit more back. Most of the players still in their own half. So again, we'll have to see how it goes. We might get a bit of an idea today in terms of shape of how United try to line up, but not in terms of personnel. But yeah, that's one thing to see. Now, talking about Ronaldo and all of that, he's stats wise, last 4 game weeks, he's right up, he's come up. Now third, out of all, these are all outfield players. So his mini-spec XGI has gone up and expected goal involvement at 2.9. Only Salah and Jota right above him. Josh King, we mentioned, still there. His numbers are really good, Josh King. So if anyone's looking to get Josh King, could be an option. Anyone else here that you are kind of like eyeing? Obviously, there's been talk about
Mhm.
Bernardo Silva. His numbers aren't as probably good as maybe a Gundogan. But I think Bernardo Silva has been playing really well. We spoke about it earlier as well. What are your thoughts on City assets? Are you getting any City
Yeah, I
assets?
think I have to. I have only cancer at the moment. I am looking at
Mm,
one of the CS already. Um, I think it's up to our budget. That's one thing I probably would, because I had Gundogan before as well, right? And for me, it's like every time De Bruyne is there, I just feel like Gundogan's value isn't as significant. I just feel like there's a lot more options.
because he drops
Sorry?
deeper.
Yeah,
Because
he
he
just
drops
drops deep,
deeper,
but also the
or
fact that I just don't see him as the main attacking threat. I see him
mm,
occasionally coming in, but you just don't see him. It's like I don't have the confidence. It's like, okay, right, who would you rather captain if City is playing a Norwich game or a week? Who would you rather captain, Foden,
yeah.
Bernardo Silva, or Gundogan?
Currently on form, I would put
Correct,
Bernardo
right?
Silva.
A second,
Yeah. Second, I'd probably go Foden because I think he has the better
exactly. That's
possibility of
exactly
getting.
my question right
Yeah.
now. So that's right now in the three players we talk about. You're already putting Gundogan last. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of answers your question, right?
Yeah, that's the thing.
So I
Yeah.
think he's great, right? He's great in the sense that he again we're all remembering Gundogan from 2 years ago when he had that crazy run and
Yes.
he was the City Player of the Year in terms of fantasy, right? But I think that year was different because De Bruyne was out, and I feel like De
Mm,
Bruyne plays a big key in terms of Gundogan. And I feel like as long
mm,
as Gundogan,
yeah, because we saw last year as well when De Bruyne was
mm,
back, Gundogan always he was a bit more deeper, wasn't really in those positions and occupying that space. So
yeah,
I guess that kind of has to be
correct.
considered.
Um,
Um,
that's my only sort of hesitation
the
in that role, and also the fact that Pep Roulette. But look,
Yeah, Pep Roulette is
yeah.
always going to be there regardless of the player, I
But
guess.
also I feel like he hasn't. I mean, we have to look at performances as well. He scored 3 goals and 2 assists so far, as opposed to
Yeah,
Bernardo's
yeah,
7 goals and 2 assists, and
yeah.
Foden's 3 goals and 3 assists. But Foden's played far less minutes, and when you on the eye
Yeah.
test, Foden definitely looks like the better option, right? So yeah, all those
Mm.
factors put together, I probably right now for the time being I'll be staying away from Gundogan. But who knows? He might prove me wrong. He might score a hat
Yeah,
trick
true.
this weekend and prove me
Uh,
wrong. So
in terms of Foden, he did get taken off at
yeah,
halftime today. So one to kind of monitor. Pep said he had something
yeah.
about his ankle or something. So maybe just check and monitor. Bernardo Silva, I think really good. He's on form. He's like this one of those players that he looks good. but numbers wise, he doesn't kind of show it. But
Yeah,
when you look at him on
it
the
was
eye
good.
test, he's
And
really good.
he also didn't play the Champions League game as well. So
Yes, exactly.
I mean,
So he's potentially playing
yeah, I
against
think
the
it's
upcoming
prime
game.
candidate. And the fact that Foden got subbed out could be for rest reasons for this game as well. So you've probably seen the likes
Yeah,
of
could
Foden
be, could
and
be.
Bernardo Silva this game week.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think either one of them is a good option. Foden, only problem is like I'm a bit concerned is, well, one thing he's a bit more expensive compared to Bernardo Silva, and secondly,
yeah,
he's sort of just in and off the injury, coming off the injury as well.
yeah. So he might not necessarily.
He
He
might
might
get
get
eased
eased
in. He
in
might not
a
play
bit
the
more.
90 minutes every game, and he was never one to play the 90 minutes before anyway. Only recently he's sort of after getting into like good form.
Yeah, he's been a
So
more main player.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
goals will come
Cool.
again. We don't know who's going to score the goals. Same problem we have every single time.
Yeah, that is Pep roulette in a nutshell. Defenders now. Regulion got injured. Unlucky owners, but he's right up there. Another cheaper alternative compared to maybe Alonso, who has now fallen off the list and is not even on this list. So Alonso is a bit of a boring candidate right now for me as well. I know you also
No, I
own
don't
him.
have
I
him.
think. Oh, you don't own him. Okay, I think
I've
Abin owns him. Yeah, so Alonso is a bit worrying for me right now. I think Spurs have looked defensively improved significantly, and the fixtures are also still pretty decent. The one thing is the upcoming game week, which I'm not sure. But if they do get a triple game week, I would be getting. I don't mind getting a regular because I think he's probably one of their best options in terms of going forward, compared to Emerson Royal. And for triple game week against 3 easy fixtures, most likely going to have 3 clean sheets.
Yeah.
I'll take it. Are you
Well,
looking
yeah.
at any others? Even
Yeah,
Ben Davis is there.
yeah. I mean, Davis
4.4.
is again there. He was playing centre back, wasn't he? He was sort of playing that three because you had
Yeah,
Tanganga
Uh,
playing. Tanganga, yeah.
I think
So,
so. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, he got 2 assists, 4.4, good. Yeah, again, Conte, right? You're gonna expect some defensive increases from Spurs. Yeah, you're right. In terms of if it's the triple game week time, you'd be surprised that the fraud might come back too.
The fraud is not getting my team. I burned my fingers once.
Yeah, look,
True. Good.
potentially,
Potentially good.
you never
Yeah.
know, right? Like, but yeah, I mean, Regulon's been good. Very unfortunate. I watched the game. He just, that one sort of in 20th minute, he just kind of walked off. But I think I shared his Instagram post to you guys as well. He said, "Don't drop him."
Yeah. Don't sell me.
He said, "Don't drop him because he's going to come back." He said, "FPL owners don't drop him." So
Yeah.
you never know, right? Hopefully he's back. Yeah, we need more defenders. We need more cheap defenders in FPL.
Yeah, that's true. We'll have to see. Hopefully, maybe a few more game weeks, and we might see some United players as well on here. We'll see how it goes. Anyone else you're looking at? Or
Not at this
any other
point,
ones?
but I will be keeping my eye on those West Ham defenders like we spoke about. So Stefan Johnson.
Yes.
And another guy
Yeah.
who is on my radar is Ashley Young.
Yeah, we've been speaking for
I
him a
have
couple of
been-
weeks
I have
already,
been,
so we'll
I'm
see.
still just waiting. I'm waiting for
Yeah.
the perfect time if it clicks through. And
Those fixtures change. Yeah, out of position, left
Yeah,
wing.
I mean, look,
Trent also
if
better.
he's playing at his rate, watch me when does Villa's fixtures turn? Is it next week?
Villa's fixtures
After
turn,
Liverpool
I
game,
think, in after the Chelsea game. So
Yeah.
20
Before
probably.
that as well, you got Norwich and Burnley. So
Oh yeah, you have Norwich and Burnley. Yeah, so you could
Potentially,
potentially begin for that, and then
yeah. Wait and watch.
we'll see.
I'll be seeing a lot more West Ham players in there. I'll see Sufal. If I mean, look, honestly, if Sufal plays, I actually would easily see him move up that list. He'd become in the top 10 very easily.
He's a good player.
Like, the chances he creates, he's very attacking. And he's I think the fact that what I saw last game was the fact that you can see a guy who wants to be selected because he's been dropped, right, for a long time. And you definitely saw that he played to be noticed. Like you saw that he actually tried really, really hard. And that was good. That's what I want, in terms of FPL. Guys who try really hard and then, you see returns from them. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure next week his name will, if he plays, and if his name will slowly move up that list. I'm very certain about that.
Yeah, true. Midfielders, we're moving on. We've already kind of spoken on it. Additionally, I think so Bruno Fernandes entered this. Sancho is also there. and Foden's also here, but just below. Heung-min Son on there. Anyone else specifically? No one really. City players and Liverpool players are the ones dominating
Yeah,
this list
I
for the
mean,
moment.
look, Madison's still there.
Oh yeah.
Rafinha should probably go down that list. He'll probably move down once their hard fixtures are going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, look,
But yeah, nothing
nothing
really
really.
per
But
se.
the only player I think I'll be really interested in watching. He's not really midfielder now, but Rashford, right, playing
Mm.
striker right next to Ronaldo as a midfielder.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually want him to do well because I feel like he's always been good in FPL, and
Yeah.
you know, he,
Yes. He just needs to get that match rhythm. I think since he's come back from his
yeah,
injury, he hasn't looked the same. But
and
maybe with a
yeah,
little
I
match
actually
rhythm,
think that
could be.
Sancho is a bit. How do I put this? I mean, I don't want to say overrated, right? But it wasn't.
Don't get cancelled on the internet.
But I wasn't convinced in the game, last game.
Yeah, I think it's gonna take a lot more. Uh, I don't know wherever he's gonna, because him and Bruno were very similar positions, and we saw in that heat map, right? I mean the touch map. Both of them are occupying almost
Yeah,
the same sort. Like yeah, so we kind of had to wait and see what Rangnick does. We know Rangnick is a huge fan of Sancho in terms of the comments he's made previously. So we'll kind of wait
yeah,
and see. I mean, Sancho, we know his qualities. It's just we have to wait and see what
yeah.
will happen, I guess. Yeah, and then forwards finally Cristiano Ronaldo, as we mentioned before, right up there. But Josh King in there. Dennis also in that list. The fraud is also still there. Although he has had no returns. Apart from that, no one specifically. Would you would you
Well, I
would you be
mean,
looking at anyone?
yeah, I
Watkins
was
is
gonna
there,
say
but
Watkins right now actually because yeah, he's another player on my watch list with Villa's
mm-hmm.
fixtures turning, and yeah, look, Benteke is actually up there, which is surprising. He's fourth on the list, and he's a player I
Mm,
was talking about before with that whole Crystal Palace squad leaving for
yeah,
AFCON. Is he not okay? Benteke's not going off AFCON. That's interesting.
no,
Yeah, he's definitely a player who looks really good actually at 6.4.
yeah, but we'll see. I don't
Yeah.
know. We'll see how it goes. Benteke before also had the numbers, but yeah. Anyways, but that's the forward line. We'll have to see how the next 2 weeks maybe goes. We'll have more details with AFCON as well, and we'll keep you guys posted. Let's wrap this up. We're reaching an hour. So managers teams, Rashad is on fire and on form in the last 2 game weeks. 59 points. The unlucky Antonio third bench could have done with that as well. But Salah, Son, Trent returning, Broha as well. You spoke about him, I think, last podcast as well. Returning in this podcast. Looking good so far. I guess Son is your main question to answer
Yeah,
this week.
I think. Look, I mean, like I had again, I had Sun captain and I changed last minute, but yeah, for this, I mean, pretty happy with this game week. Not going to complain. Yeah, I did see the Anthony assist early on in the game week. I was bit upset by that, but um, yeah, disappointing. We spoke about the defenders not delivering as well because Cancelo James blanking was not really great. And
Yeah.
also the fact that Livermore lost his clean sheet at the 97th minute wasn't great either.
Yes, that made it even worse.
Yeah, he was on. I think he was on bonus points as well. Actually, he was on like 8. I think he was meant to get 8, and then he lost it all.
Yeah, and then gone. Yeah,
No,
that
no.
didn't really
But
help.
look, uh, yeah, but this game week is pretty much going to be really based on that Son and his status as well. I've already made some transfers, but if Son doesn't play, and Son is still my team after my transfers, if Son doesn't play, and I'm gonna have to
We're looking at a hit
potentially or think about
potentially.
something, So,
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I guess Sun's big news. I think a lot of people, a lot of managers need to kind of see as well and navigate. Yeah, that's a big thing. So for me, I had the fraud. Fraud is left the building. But yeah, big at the back didn't really work. Livramento came on for Smith Rowe because Smith Rowe is out. I hope Smith Rowe is fine right now. We'll see. And then I don't know. For me, I need to shake it up somewhat. It's not looking great. I've had 3 consecutive now red arrows. I'm gone from 2K to 17K. But yeah, let's see. I'm looking at a few players. I have the 2 free transfers. Well, I had the 2 free transfers. But yeah, Kane is not there. He has left the building.
That's good.
But yeah, we'll see. Now, having said all of that, he can come and score a hat trick next game, and I'm like, yeah,
Another
this is
case
what
of
happens.
Mbuemo.
Yeah, another case of
He's not
Mbemo. Oh well, it is what it is. Yeah. But yeah, that's my team. Hopefully I can change it up. Now, price changes. We have a few price changes. Let me bring it up. All right, there we go. So, Egg Dye going up. Josh King going up in price for anyone looking. Tomorrow, Jose Sa, David De Gea. We haven't spoken about De Gea too much. For those who are possibly looking as a keeper, 5 million. Ramsdale is almost going to be 5 million as well. Not a bad fixture. I mean, player for those fixtures, but yeah. Anyone going down? Yeah, Danny Ings, Tony going down. Apart from that, no one really specifically that people are owning per se.
No one really owns him, but
Yeah. But yeah. And then finally, combined panel team, which sadly has taken too much damage, which didn't look good. 31 points. Disaster week. We probably need to make a few changes.
yeah.
We have 2 free transfers as well.
Okay, well, a lot of injuries, huh?
Yeah. Injury struck squad. I think Tony's got to go.
It's a good idea. Let's get rid of Tony.
Who do we bring though? We got 9.4 million. We could possibly free it up a bit more, but I don't know who we're actually going to.
Yeah, so we who do we have in our best fixtures? So we have Man City, Man United, West Ham.
Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
And
well, I mean, I've been looking to bring another West Ham asset actually because I feel like we don't have any West Ham here. Maybe not Antonio, but one of
bring him Bowen, but
we could.
Bowen for Mbeumo?
Mbeumo's going to go, right?
Yeah. So we bring Bowen for Mbeumo and then Tony for... I mean, we could do the Watkins move if needed.
But they're playing Liverpool this week.
They're playing Liverpool this week, which
next week,
really
I think
help.
Watkins will be a good pick for next week.
Yeah. I mean, we don't necessarily need to start
How's
Watkins
Saint Max? How's Saint Max
said that. Newcastle's fixtures aren't.
So maybe we do a Josh King this week, and then we take Saint Max for.
Oh yeah, and a Watkins after. Yeah. Okay, we'll do a Josh King. Yeah, I think that helps.
Since it's a price rise as well, we might as well make some money on this team.
Yeah, that's true. Hold on. Now I obviously said get rid of Mbeumo, but they're playing Watford.
Maybe keep him one more game.
While Rafinha is playing Chelsea.
Good point.
And Man City. Do you want to get rid of Rafinha?
Yeah, since we need Smith Rowe and Johnson injured, you might need more playing. So we might need to go with a 4-3-3, 3-4-4, 3-4-3 maybe.
3-4-3. Yeah.
So yeah, your good point. I think let's get rid of Rafinha and get Bowen in there because against Chelsea might be tough.
Having said that, we don't know what will happen with this Chelsea team at this point. But yeah, I think Rafinha and Bowen.
Isn't Bamford injured again?
No, he's back, right?
No, I thought he came back. I think he got injured again.
Oh, what? Really? Oh my god. Okay, never mind. I don't know. Maybe not. Okay, we'll do this, I think. Rafinha out, Josh King, Bowen in. I can't believe I kept him Weber. Oh well.
Yeah, have a look. I'm sure Bamford has got some injury again because Calvin Phillips is out for a while. For 2 months.
Well, he's not flagged yet, but yeah.
Bamford is rumored to have suffered a hamstring.
So, oh my god. Oh, Leeds.
I think your Chelsea should be fine, mate. Your clean sheet should be fine.
Yeah. Should be, hopefully. We'll see.
Cool.
All right, cool. So we'll make this move.
Let's go for it.
All right, there we go. And we will be playing that.
Captain Ronaldo.
Watford.
Yeah.
Captain Ronaldo?
Pepper.
Yeah. Do we bring in Mbeumo? We'll put him on second sub?
Yeah. So Smith Rowe plays Southampton if he plays, and if he doesn't play, then... Yeah, good point.
Yeah, and Livramento for sub or Embuemo for sub?
We probably put Embuemo first sub, right?
Okay.
I mean, we're keeping
Yeah,
Embuemo.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, might as well. And then Captain Ronaldo. Alright, that's a differential
100%.
team. Alright, let's see how we go. Cool. That's basically it. Thank you to Rushant for joining. Let me switch this back. Alright. So thank you all for joining. Make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers before the end of the year. Hopefully we can reach it. We're on 77 subscribers right now. Thank you to Rush and have a good night, everyone. I will be hopefully getting up in the morning to watch Barcelona go to the Europa League with Bayern Munich beating them. But
Bayern's
let's see,
already
let's
gone
see.
through.
That'll
so
be an
they should
interesting
really-
game.
they should-
Oh
they
yeah,
should
Bayern's
let-
already gone through,
they
but
should
Barca
let
need to win.
just remember.
Let's see. We'll see. That'll be a fun